What's up, ladies, boys, and girls? It is time for the January wrap-up. What did I read? Was it any good? What am I currently reading? And maybe what's going on next month. At least a little bit, because I don't plan that far in advance. So, started out the month strong. I started before January. But for New Year's, went to go see the folks, had a lot of reading to do because the wife was driving. And I finished up Elantris. I know a lot of people say that's not as strong when compared to the other ones, but, I haven't read Way of Kings since it came out in paperback. So it's been a while, so nothing to really compare it to. Fresh in the memory. I loved Elantris. Let me warn you right now, I am a hard grader. I don't do a lot of fives. Fives to me are the best of the best. I know Goodreads, a lot of people are a little more slack than that. If they like it, it's a 5. For me, if I like it, it's a 4. If I love it, it's a 5. And Elantris did get a 5 out of me. I followed that up by finishing up City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. Debut novel, loved it. Not a 5, but not because it wasn't good. It was a 4 for me. If you are into this style of book, though, and of course I have book reviews for almost everything I've read, this one might be a 5 for you. It was a solid 4 for me. Really liked it. Like I said, check out the book review. Don't want to spend the recap redoing everything I did all month. But yeah, this was a really good book, especially the debut novel. Can't wait to see what she does next. And the Waterstones edition of this book is just gorgeous. I'm just going to leave that at that. Number 3. I've had this one a while. I finally got around to finishing up. I read Missing Clarissa by Ripley Jones. This one was a very fun book. If I remember correctly, let's see if I can pull up my Goodreads real quick. This is another one that I gave a 4 to. Probably not quite as high. I mean, I don't really like to start ranking them because you're like these are my 5 4s and these are the order that they're in. But it's not like for me. It wasn't quite as good as George's book, but it was still, like I said, 4. Loved the book. Little bit maybe YA for people. May not be for everybody, but I really enjoyed it. I think even if you don't love the book, it's probably still at least a solid 3 for you. But got a 4 out of me. Next one that I finished up, and I finished up season 1. There's 2 seasons. I know I'm supposed to be doing books. Why am I talking about seasons? The Dex Legacy, written by Emily Inkpen. It is actually a series. There's a podcast, but I've been watching it on YouTube. And it is the story of these 3 young, 16-year-old children working for the man who adopted them, who is basically Tony Stark, but without any, moral compunctions. And he's uses them as part of his private army that he rents out to people. So it's really, really interesting. Like I said, it is serialized. There's no video to it. Like I said, I watched it on YouTube, but there's no actual video. There's just a picture with some, eroding DNA behind it and stuff like that, just while you watch it. But yeah, it was 16 different voice actors, so everybody gets their own voice. It's really, really well written. The Dex Legacy Season 1 Collected Scripts and Commentary is a book, which I have not read, but I did put a review on that on Goodreads. I didn't actually rate the book because I hadn't read the book. I'd only watched the videos. Go figure. But anyhow, like I said, they are 15-minute, maybe 20-minute episodes. If you've got the time, watch it. And don't do like I did. Definitely watch the interludes during the series. I watched all the main episodes and then went back to do the interludes, and there's a lot of filler information in those interludes. So consider those interludes just part of the regular season. Watch it together. I think you'll love it. That's just my opinion. Following up that, I read Single Light by Tosca Lee. This one was it's book 2 in a series. I don't normally do that. I did not realize it was book 2. I will tell you this, though. Tosca Lee writes in such a way, if you want somebody who fills you in on what you need from a previous book without info dumping every, so often, this is the person to read. She perfectly fills in all that information as part of flashbacks or just regular conversation where you don't feel taken out of the story that you're flowing through, but you also find out everything you needed to know from the story you missed. This was another 4-star read for me, and I will be going back to read that book 1. Yes, I know some of the stuff that's going to happen, but I got to read it. That's all there is to it. So yeah, solid 4 for me. Loved it. I will say this, and like I said, feel free to watch the original review. But as I tell people, if you ever wanted something that was post-apocalyptic but was also a beach read, this is it. The way she writes everything is so smooth. You can sit down and knock this out in a day or two. It is, it's just that easy to read. Loved it. All right, so next one. I got to listen to Your Utopia by Bora Chung. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Maybe Bora Young. Apologies if I said your name wrong. I don't remember. I'm sure they said it at the beginning, but I listened to the audiobook a while ago. So anyhow, I believe it's Bora Chung. Watch the video. I say it right in the video. Anyhow, this one, and I'm going to reiterate this to people. I won't tell you the whole review, but get the book. Personally, I was put off a little bit by the narration. Like I said in the review, I don't think that's the narrator's fault. I think they read it the way it was intended to be read. It just didn't do anything for me. I think I rated it as a 3. If I'd read it as a book, it might be a 3.5 or a 4. That's all I'm going to tell you about that one. And then I finished it up and talk about a way to bookend. I finished up The Famine Witch by Stephen Black. That was the last book I actually finished this month. This one, gothic horror, kind of also historical fiction, because he sets this gothic horror story in a specific time and place in Belfast history, and it is just wonderful. This is another one. If you're not into gothic horror, obviously you're probably not going to rate this as high. I gave it a 5. Even if you don't like gothic horror, I don't think you can give it below a 4. It's just that good. I just discovered this author. I see that he's got some other stuff. If I get time in my reading schedule, I'm going to try to fit some more of his stuff in. On a related note, we were actually going to do an author interview too. Some things came up that didn't happen. I'm hoping to reschedule, but even if I hadn't, I'm glad that I read this book. You know, as you can see, I don't give out a lot of 5s, but I bookended my month with 5s. Started out with The Lantris, ended with The Famine Witch, and it's not a bad way to. So let's bring this up to okay. That's what I did read. One other book that I read, did not do a review for it. I didn't do a review for it because it wasn't at least a 3 for me, and I didn't really want to put that rating out on Goodreads, mainly for 2 reasons. I talked to this author. He actually asked me to read his book and give him a review on it. I did that personally. I sent him an email because I didn't want to, like I said, do this out on Goodreads. But I'm going to tell you about the book now for a couple reasons. One, it's like 99 cents on Amazon last time I checked. So if you wanted to give the book a try, you're out $1. That's all I'm saying about that. If you don't want to give the book a try, I understand because I did not rate it very highly. But in talking to this kid, and yes, I said kid, he's in high school. He is so very nice, so very humble. He's Canadian. I know that's redundant. But yeah, he put this book out, it's self-published. He actually sincerely seems to want input on it. He has a plan for a whole series, and he wanted to get this first book out. He didn't have, the professional editors or an agent or anything like that telling him, what was right and what's wrong. And so he's honestly looking, he's like, what can I do to he wants this series that he's going to put out to be better. So he's actually looking for input. So if you want to give Thomas Belita's Tempest a try, like I said, go in with low expectations. This probably isn't. I'll be honest. I'm not. I'm not so full of myself to think that I would have written any better back in high school. Heck, I remember some of the poetry I wrote back in high school. Was I good with words? Yes. Did I put them down in such a way that it's something I would want to read? No. There's a reason most of those poems got destroyed. So yeah, like I said, this is a guy, in high school writing a book. I think it took him 3 years to write this book. It's over like 80 pages too, if I remember correctly. So if you wanted to throw 99 cents his way, you're not going to be taking up a whole lot of time in your day. But like I said, kid seems very sincere, very, very nice. And I told him as many issues as I had with the book. his little freshman effort, as it were, here. There's enough in there that I'm interested to see what he writes next. All right, so that's everything that I read. That's everything I finished in January. So what am I still got my teeth into? She goes by JJ, so I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. S.J. Jones, The Winter Song. I'm currently in the middle of that. That one seems to be a very good book. I am not disappointed in myself at all with picking that book. So we'll see how that goes. I'm a little over halfway through, so we'll see. We'll see where we get. Should be done shortly. It's got to be done shortly because I've got another physical book to read, and tomorrow starts February, and I've got an interview in February, so I need to read the book. I'm also currently listening to Womb City by, I apologize if I'm going to say this wrong, Tlotlo Samasi. Sorry, TT, I'm sure I butchered that. I apologize. This one's going to be, well, check out the review. This one's going to be interesting. I'm just going to leave it at that. And then I just started to read, I haven't gotten far enough in to tell you anything about it yet, A Place for Vanishing by Anne Freistad. I'm not good with names. I apologize again if I mispronounced that. But that's the next one that I am reading. Okay, Womb City just came out January 23rd, so that is out if you want to read it. And A Place for Vanishing actually came out January 16th. Both of those books are out now, so those are good to go. So that is everything I have read. That's everything I'm currently reading. I only have one book that I absolutely positively can guarantee you that I'm going to read next month, and that's going to be Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, because I also have an interview planned with her, the 10th actually. Double check, I think that's a Wednesday. Double check the website for the time. I want to say 7 p.m. Central. I'm in fact like 99% sure, but I don't want to lie to you. So yeah, check out Gryftkin.com. That's always got the calendar of who's coming up for the actual author interviews and when. There are a few placeholders in there sometimes, so double check. It'll say placeholder somewhere in the description, just in case that we know we're going to talk, but we don't know when yet, because, again, I don't plan that far in advance a lot of the times too. If you're new to the channel, I only try to do one author interview a month. When I first started out, I was doing them like every couple of weeks that year, and it was a little crazy, especially if you wanted to read more than one book by an author, and some authors have chunkier books than others. I always want to be able to make sure that I give time to an author. It's like, read the book, what type of questions do I have, etc., and so forth. Let people know that it's coming, that type of thing. So I really, really try to do about one a month. If, like for instance, if Stephen Black wanted to reschedule during one of the months that already has an author, I've already read his book. We could probably fit it in because I don't need to go back and, read the book and all that stuff that's already been done. Or if it is, like for instance, I had Nat Cassidy on once. Well, we did talk about his book, especially since it was the middle of the strike. If we had wanted to talk about something, like, if I was going to have him on again and talk about whatever movie or TV show he's up to in acting, that I could probably fit in one of those if it was like an actor or something like that, or a celebrity, without quite so much prep time. But I focus on authors here, and authors I definitely want a chance to, read whatever current book that I'm going to talk about, or in the case of, I had Lydia King on right before her new Star Wars book came out. And Disney was a little worried about what's being said. They don't like a lot of information. So we actually talked about a previous book. So, if I can't talk about the book that's dropping, I want to talk about another book of theirs. And so I want time to read it, digest it, etc., and so forth. I'm sure you get that. I see a lot of like the news type book reviews where they pull on some, especially if it's a celebrity. They'll pull on some celebrity and they'll have like a 5-minute interview, and you can just tell they didn't read the book. It's like, I don't want any author ever coming around, leaving here going, he didn't even read my book. He didn't even know what he's talking about. Anyhow, so like I said, that's my February. I've got Margaret Rogerson coming on. I hope it's Rogerson. If it's like Rogerson or something, I apologize. Again, I am not good with names. So I'm going to go ahead and say this too, because like I said, if you're new to the channel, this is the first time I've done a monthly wrap up. I know a lot of the big guys do a weekly wrap up. I don't know if I'd have that much to say in a weekly wrap up, especially since I actually do since I actually do reviews for each and every single book that I read, except with with the exception of Thomas. Sorry, Thomas, but I kind of did the whole booktuber thing out of order. I've seen guys like Brian Bell, for instance. I think Brian Bell's got the right idea. His booktube exploded a lot faster than mine. But I think the way you're supposed to do it is you get into booktube. So you can consider this my little mini masterclass from somebody who doesn't have as many subscribers as some of the big guys. But I think I've gone up like over 1,000 in the last month, and I think this probably would have been the better way to do it. So if you're thinking about getting into booktube, jump into booktube, comment, talk to people, get a feel for a bunch of different styles, start doing some reviews, start doing some talks about what you read, and then when you make a name for yourself, try to get yourself like an author, a favorite author here and there, see if they'll come on and talk. That's the way I think that's the way you're supposed to do it. Instead, about 2 years ago, my journey is I started doing author interviews. Never watched BookTube. I knew it was a thing, but I didn't follow anybody. But I did my author interviews, live streamed them on Twitch because there wasn't a whole lot of author interviews on Twitch. And I thought, hey, Twitch was what I was doing at the time. It worked for me. Doing the author interviews actually what got me to, it's not partner, what's the other one? Affiliate. Got me to affiliate on Twitch. I had a couple of ones were decent attended. And that got me where I needed to be for that. But yeah, I think there's a future for BookTube, obviously. I don't think there's much of a future for BookTwitch, especially since I'm one of the few people that does it. And, live streams just aren't the same thing. So again, I did it backwards. I did the author interviews first, and then I started kind of looking at BookTube, and then started doing some reviews and stuff. Obviously, it's possible to do it that way. I think I'm at like 1,500 subscribers now. But, check out Mike or Brian or Patrick, Madison, Murphy. Those guys are way ahead of me, and they're doing it the right way. So I'm not going to be a carbon copy of them. I don't want to be a carbon copy of them. Otherwise, you could probably just go watch them, and they probably do a better job of it. Oh my goodness, John Minton. Anybody? Talking Story. Dude, I would give my left arm to be able to have his much enthusiasm about books. I am enthusiastic. I don't necessarily show it. That is not because I'm not a huge avid book fan reader. I just made up a new word. You know what I meant. But I'm also the same guy that went through the quote-unquote scariest haunted house in Canada with my daughter. And when we walked out the other end, the guy just looked at me and he's like, well, you guys aren't going to be on the YouTube channel. Because we just didn't react. Anyhow, that's just us. We're chill. I apologize. But yeah, I can't quite get as enthusiastic. But I love watching John. Oh my goodness. So, and this one's for John. If you made it this far, click the like button. You'll enjoy it. It's down there. All right. So that is the wrap up for January. I don't want to make this any longer than it needs to be because, like I said, I want you to go back and look at those reviews and see what you think of those. Appreciate everybody who watched this. I appreciate the fact that, you guys have gotten me up to the 1,500 subscriber count. Hope you're enjoying it. I will try to be informative. I will try to be at least a little entertaining. And we will see you as soon as I finish up Winter Song because there'll be a review for that. All the usual stuff. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Goodreads. I got rid of my Substack because they suck. I'm on Blue Sky. And it's Gryftkin, Gryftkin. If you run across a Gryftkin almost anywhere, Facebook, that's me. So, yeah, I'm not that hard to find. And of course, like I said, the website, Gryftkin.com. If you want to see which authors are coming up, maybe set some plans aside for a day or two. Check it out. We'll see who's coming. Yeah, that's it. Happy reading.